We're in the banning mood. The FDA has officially banned red dye number 3.
It's a synthetic color additive made from petroleum and a chemical known as erythrocene. It's been linked with cancer in animals.
Artificial coloring used in beverages, candy, and other foods. Notably, I don't want to be totally wrong in this. Someone can fact check me. I'm pretty sure it's used in stuff like Advil or ibuprofen, which is insane to me.
Yeah, it's mostly in the candies, in fruit cocktails. Shirley Temple probably has a lot of this in it. And my beloved Sour Patch Kids. Oh,
are you a Sour Patch Kids head?
I love Sour Patch. In fact, there's usually about a week during the early stages of pregnancy where I live exclusively on Sour Patch Kids and red Gatorade. So I don't know. My kids seem fine, but I've been like ingesting this like.
You like the Sour Patch Kids stuff?
Oh, it's a pregnancy thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say, I think it's like nasty.
But couldn't you enjoy that? Just have it not be red?
It's true.
Well, I would enjoy red. The flavor. Like there are red dyes that are just, they're not neon crazy color. Like
I'll take beet or something.
Yeah, use like a natural substitute. I mean, they were seeing that it was causing cancer in rats. I mean, some stuff it defies logic that it's in. Like I don't know. I know that some people do it because consumer preferences in the United States, they like to see the color that they're eating, and this is the most probably cost sensitive. And
well, we do it for ground beef. Ground beef looks kind of like that gray color, so they add red coloring, so it makes it look like it's real meat.
Looks fresh. Yeah,
that's all.
That's actually fake.
Yeah,
I would love to do away with that. I mean, I don't need to live in a simulated world where things look a certain way that shouldn't look that way.
I have a question though. Is this a sign? Is the FDA preparing for an RFK taking of the reins? Is that what this is? Is this RFK winning before he's even in, just like we have Trump winning in like
partially,
the Middle East before?
Although, I mean, Senator Tuberville got on this bandwagon ahead of this and was going after the FDA in those hearings back in December, I can remember, and was asking, have you done any studies on how the red dye number 3 affects kids? And they're like, and they're kind of spinning their wheels.
The FDA has a position that food coloring like 40 are safe for kids' ingestion. Do both of you stand behind that, Dr. Caleb?
I'm going to refer that to Mr. Jones.
Okay.
We have not evaluated Red 40 in over a decade. Over a decade ago,
we have not.
At FDA we have not evaluated the safety of Red 40 in over a decade. So over a decade, that was the conclusion that FDA made.
And so, I mean, it is an RFK effect, but like it was, I think it was in the works because of the hearing where they were like kind of spinning their wheels. So
nice. I'm ready. Bring it on.
And I guess, okay, so I see Rick in the chat, and I think this is actually an example in which I've very much changed my opinion on government. I used to maybe be a little bit more libertarian sensitive. Not a fan of the government banning things, used to be a conservative ideal, but now you have to switch to libertarian to get government out of our lives. I actually think, and Trump actually in a funny way kind of did this. He's starting the External Revenue Service, apparently, which is creating a new government agency because it's like we've taxed internally too much.
I love it.
It's time to start collecting on tariffs from other countries taking advantage of us. No more tax on our people. I think the purpose of government and the unique responsibility of government is to promote the common good. And there are forces and incentives to do things that do not promote the common good. And we get to come together and we get to argue about what the common good is when it comes to health, when it comes to law and order, when it comes to different things. And if we don't have a strong, central, functioning body to take care of those things, there's abuses. And so specifically in the case of red dye number 3, that should be banned. It's been banned in many other countries. It's causing cancer in rats. I don't think that it's promoting the common good to put that in kids' mouths or into adults' mouths. So get rid of it. I don't see any problem with that.
And I would say, like in the United States, after the Civil War was ended, we had probably our most free market libertarian kind of government for like about 40 years or so there. And it was good in some ways, obviously, an explosion of wealth. We're able to welcome in millions of people. Slaves were able to, have some livelihood. Not that everything was fine. I'm not trying to say that. But it was probably the most libertarian government ever until we hit 1913 Progressive Era. But, you got to kind of own some of this. There is what is the nature of it? Like, it's one thing, you build up a business, the libertarian idea, well, you have a business, you have a reputation. That's why you're not going to sell bad food. Yeah, but then the railroads come along and you can make food and it goes down the tracks 300 miles. Like, wow, I'm not going to ever see this person again or whatever. And so that's why, as we get to the first decade of the 20th century, there was this call for a Pure Food and Drug Act and the creation of the FDA, precisely because, people are getting meat that was rancid and they were getting food that was horrible. And, that's why the Heinz bottle is clear. They're like, hey, we're going to show you what we got. And we're not afraid of the government coming and looking at what, so reputation alone and relying purely on the free market wasn't getting the job done. I'm not a big fan of regulatory, regimes and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you do have, when you're talking about 3,000 miles from coast to coast, there has to be an understanding of that. It's not like we're all just living in our village. Like, I can't believe that guy's poisoning us. There has to be some sort of stuff like that.
Accountability.
So. Oh, pollution's a great example of that. And RFK Jr. spent his early career fighting people on that. It's like, no, companies shouldn't be able to dump toxins into the local lake, kill the fish, poison the people. That's wrong. And if we just operated under pure capitalism, then they could do that. There would be nothing stopping them from doing it.
Well, that's the thing. Like that is the one thing with the commons. Like who owns the lake and the river? No, no one does, and therefore, yeah, you have to create laws to regulate that. Otherwise, you're right. People just like whatever. Mm-hmm. So, like in England, the way it's situated is that the king owns all of the rivers and the ocean or whatever. So, like, if you're polluting, you're going against his territory. So that's their way of getting around the problem of the commons, as they call it.
Oh,
so
interesting.
In this country, it's the same way. It has to be essentially, basically, the government. Like they have to regulate it. That so.
Josh, you are so wise. I appreciate your perspective.
Comment in the comment here, zero regulation would only work in a highly virtuous society. In fact, Aquinas says it only would work if men were angels. So we're like a non-fallen society.
Yeah, what does
we
that
have
quote?
to have rules.
Yeah, government would, a society with no government would only work if we're all angels. And if we're all angels, we wouldn't need one anyway.
Exactly.
So,
yep, that's the quote. Yeah. You got it.
Bang.
I'm definitely not an angel. I need me some guidelines.
Neither.